he's a kind of man where you can wake up in the morning and you don't need to prostrate to him and say, Eka Rosa. You know, the Gen Z father. Despite the fact that he's 70 years, he's still the new school father.
His picture is in the back page of the biggest newspapers from Weekend Concord, which was the best-selling newspaper. Everybody wanted a copy of Weekend Concord. So you go to the back, everybody was reading him. So time memorial, he's always been very popular, and I've always known he was a superstar, right?
He's not the type that will say, go and bring your assignment. No, his style of parenting is learn by your own mistakes, right? So it gives you a free will to do what you deem is right for you, right? And then that's the way Yoruba say it, right? It gives you an experiential way of learning about life, right?
You be in the newsroom and an old officer will come and meet you and be like, son of a veteran journalist. You know, his shoes are too big for me to fit in, and I can't lie, his shoes are too big for me. But wherever you mention that name, Awoyinfa, it's been like it has been opening doors and opportunities for us, and we're grateful. We thank God for that. And
while growing up, for example, he ensured that we always wrote something. Like we kept journals, we kept diaries, we wrote essays, and it reflected in our education. We are all high flyers in our careers because of all those he has imbibed in us. His love for his family is unexplainable. He sacrificed everything for us.
He made sure that he inspired us in creative writing, in music, and in different types of art forms. In fact, when I was in junior secondary school, I was so good at writing that I also wanted to be like my dad, right? I wanted to be a writer, I wanted to be a novelist, I wanted to be a columnist of some sort. But when I looked at the landscape, then they used to take people in art class very serious, right? And me and Kehinde, we passed our GSC exam. I think we had 9 A's or something, and it would be weird for us to then not go into sciences.
Right from when we were young, it was from the typewriter days. I don't know if people still from the typewriter. It was just all through the day, all through the night, always writing. I liken him to a pastor that is always preparing his sermon every Sunday. He's always preparing, always reading, always getting abreast of everything, and he's inspired us so much.
I think my dad deserves more accolade, right? I think because of his gentle and humble nature, right? Sometimes he doesn't get as much respect as he deserves. But when you look at the catalogue of work he has done, the people he has made and influenced, right? The people he has mentored, you would start to appreciate the level of greatness he has. But because he's quiet, he's humble, he's reserved, you won't really give him the honor that he deserves. And I pray that in this, as we plan to celebrate him this 70th, the world can see him for the legend that he truly is.
Well, it's another very wonderful, lovely, glorious day. A day that the Lord has made somewhere, somehow. In Nigeria, West Africa, in the island of Lagos, as we assemble here to celebrate a great man, a man of dynamic intellectual prowess, a man of impeccable achievement, a man of journalism, a man of public relations, a man of philosophy, a man who has done enough to contribute to the body of journalism in his own time, in his own climate, in his own environment, especially in Africa and across the world. I love to call him the king of the tabloid. Actually, it was himself and his twin brother, a man who hailed from the eastern part of Nigeria. He hails from the western part of Nigeria. He's a Yoruba, and the other great man who passed away some years ago. But today, we are celebrating the king himself. I call him Saint Mike Awoyinfa. 70th is a legendary age, an age of philosophical orientation and all that. So today, we want to meet some of the young people, the great people that God has set through this man, his children. I want to be sharing perspective about who the father, Mike Awoyinfa, is. We know him as the man of the tabloid, the man of the magazine, the PR expert, the thinker, the doer, the philosopher king. But we might not have enough about St. Mike Awoyinfa, the father behind the scene. And starting with me is one of the handsome, young scion of the family. He is going to introduce himself to me, very quiet, very unassuming, and it's not easy getting him to talk. And let me also say, a bit slippery, but we thank God that God has made him to sit down with us today. With all that honor, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for always being there for the family.
God bless you, sir. I'm so honored.
And I can imagine when Dad was 50, you were here, 60, you were here, you're always there. We truly appreciate the relationship we have with you.
Thank you, sir.
And we look forward to more to happen between our families. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm honored giving me the privilege to talk to you today, because I knew the whole lot of effort we put in to reach out to the children, and the surprise package for Baba 70. But let's ask her, who is Mike Awoyinfa, the father? And I want to know your name, and how will you define the fatherhood of Mike Awoyinfa?
Yeah, my name is Sekondi College. I'm the last of the 3 boys Mike Awoyinfa has, and Mike Awoyinfa, as we all know, has just been a phenomenal man. Everybody knows him as the literal Jagaban, and the one that. But we've been very lucky to watch him grow all through the years. My earliest remembrance of him was around his late 30s, 40s, and to be honest, those were the peak period of his career. Like, I spent the past few days checking old write-ups, all the newspaper writings he's been doing. Articles since 19. He has that document. I said, this man has been a great man, and we, the children, have been privileged to be by his side all through the journey. We've seen him at his peak. We've seen him 70, reflecting at the reflective age when he's looking back and saying, how has my life been? He's inspired us so much, and everything we are today is just all about him, right? As a father, you just have to be his son to understand him, right? You just have to be his son. Extremely quiet. He writes better than he speaks. And,
that I know.
And but very inspirational, hardworking, right? Right from when we were young, it was from the typewriter days. I don't know if people still from typewriter. It was just all through the day, all through the night, always writing. I liken him to a pastor that is always preparing his sermon every Sunday. He's always preparing, always reading, always getting abreast of everything, and he's inspired us so much. While growing up, for example, he ensured that we always wrote something. Like we kept journals, we kept diaries, we wrote essays, and it reflected in our education. We are all high flyers in our careers because of all those he has imbibed in us. his love for his family is unexplainable. He sacrificed everything for us, right? Every single thing, everything. Like, what didn't he sacrifice? He gave us everything we needed. We've never gone to him and said, this is what we want, and he didn't give it to us. And we are truly grateful to have him as a father, extremely lucky to have him as a father. And
will you say you won a jackpot of birth?
Yes,
to
absolutely.
be a Awoyinfa's son.
Absolutely, it's a jackpot. And nowadays that journalists are not
well remunerated
or not as popular as now. It's now social media and things like that. But I remember we're superstars. If you mention the Awoyinfa
neighborhood,
not even in neighborhood, nowhere you go to, we go and say Awoyinfa, Mike Awoyinfa, everything changes from career to even business today. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, and anywhere I go with that name, they say, your father, I used to read him, you've gotten the job. So it's opened significant amount of doors for us that we can't even, the name as, a good name is way, way better than silver or gold. That's what they say. And that good name has worked for us as his children. And as I said, those days when he was from, even our girlfriends was because we were my Awoyinfa sons. And your dad.
I remember these children saying that they were also in the same challenge that you faced. That all the girls wanted to just date, and they did
In addition to the cute looks we got from him.
Yes, of course.
Yes,
and everybody knows.
He's always been. Our teachers wanted to know him. Our friends wanted to know him. Everybody just wanted to know
how the slice of attention with
absolutely
the legend itself. I want to ask you this question. There's this perception that people like your dad were just too quiet and too reserved. It was they themselves with their biros, their books and all that. Will you say your father, will you say he has a social life, and how will you define his social life? Because most of the time, I've come visiting when I was young. Some of the time, it was always a bookworm. He was writing one book. He has written more than 10 books, more than 12 books. He and his friend, and he was just a total supreme magazine man. But how will you define his social life? Does he have one?
Yes. So, with regards to his social life, absolutely very quiet man. He just wants to be in his books, as rightly said. There are a lot of strengths in that. There are also a lot of weaknesses in that, right? So. And those are lessons we also have learned as his children, right? That we take the best out of him, right? But also improve on his weaknesses, right? To be honest, he could have done way better if it was a social, with his knowledge and his influence and number of people he knows. He could have met a lot more people, which built more relationships and improved on his social capital, right? But again, notwithstanding, he was not exposed to the world like every other the people that the people that are out there, right? But he had those very solid relationships. However, as I said, as his children, we've adapted the strength of that, keep private, but also build solid relationships with people, because people is who will take you to where you want to be. So
at what point in time did you start to realize him? I mean, you are just young and you are going through a very wonderful conservative family, a man with a very big name, but a very shy personage. At what time did you discover Michael Awoyinfa? Oh, this is my dad. Oh, is this how big he is? At what time of your life?
It's always been like that. Like, his picture is in the back page of the biggest newspapers, from Weekend Concord, which was the best-selling newspaper. Everybody wanted a copy of Weekend Concord. So you go to the back, everybody was reading him. So time memorial, he's always been very popular, and I've always known he was a superstar, right? and we've experienced him that way, as I rightly said.
But was Dad a cool and a gang dad, or was he the one that used the rod?
I wish you'd met my mom. So, so it's a balance, right? So my mom was
balanced life.
My mom was disciplinarian, and my dad was the cool guy. He doesn't have to say too much, but you wanted to make him proud. So you had to. His shoes were too big, so he didn't have to shout to us But the balance was there with our mom. Our mom was the one that was doing all the hard work. And again, reflecting, that's what we've even passed on to our own. I'm a father myself. Those are lessons that build fantastic relationship with your children. You don't have to shout, you don't have to, but so we've learned from that. He's been a good cop. My mom has been a bad cop.
Your mom is the only packet of packet.
Yes,
Your dad is
the
the attitude person that deals with the attitude. Then, growing up, can you recall some of the memorable moments you shared with him? Some memorable moment that you can't forget, unforgettable moment with dad?
There are a lot of them, right? But this, if you speak to any of my brothers, it'll probably be the same thing that keeps resonating when we talk. Introduce us to music. Like, there's no musician as young children that we're not exposed to, right? His love for music is literally almost.
And I remember the time he said, "Where's the very good musician?"
Yeah, he did. He used to write music. He couldn't sing it right, but he introduced us to plethora of music. The variety was so spicy, like from Senegal to Metallica to rock music to Alifaka Toure, the guy from every single person. And even till now, a new music comes up. He's like, Kehinde, have you heard this song? Wandeko, don't just hear. So he loves music so much, and that has really helped us. He played some musical instruments. He taught us how to play them. So that really helped us also. Memorable moments. We'll be in school and we'll be remembering those moments. We're trying to do a mixtape. He had a microphone. We plug it to he's an amazing man. He's an amazing man. He's an amazing man.
What kind of a father is that? Then let me ask you this critical question. He's been the first editor. Wicked Concord. With him, Wicked Concord became a national pride in terms of tabloid journalism in Nigeria. Then from that, we had the season of the Sun newspaper. We had other brands like Spectators, then the Entertainment Extra, and down to the eras of book writing. Which peculiar era had a profound influence on you when your dad was building all this brand?
The brands changed, but the man did not change, right? He remained ever true to himself. And the same approach he had for Weekend Concord, which was, I think, was the biggest part of his career, even to the Sun, even to as small as Entertainment Express was.
Yeah, it was so powerful.
It's the same effort that he put in all of these things that he put in this new brand. So, as I said, the brands were kept on changing, but the man remained the same even till today. And even when he started writing his books, he's at it 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I'm sleeping. I'm like, what's this man doing? So the man never changed. It's just his love for writing that remained.
Something makes me so afraid of your father. Most of the time, I had the privilege, the rare privilege, to run into him either at home or sometime in the office with other colleague. He was always in this atmosphere of intellectual. Maybe should I call it intellectual revival? It's either he's working on a book or he's working on a project that has to do with literary offering. I mean, will you say you learned something from that? How is there anything that says to you about him, or will you say he was just living in his own world?
Yeah, all he knows to do is write.
Writing.
That's all. He doesn't know how to fix a bulb. He doesn't know how to turn on gen. He just wants to write. Right. So he didn't even do any other entrepreneurial like he wanted to do. He just had to be writing. So what I learned from that is he found the strength, narrowed down on it, focused on it, and tried to be the best at it.
Well, my name is Baba Jide Awoyinfa. Yeah, I'm his first son, and to me, Mike Awoyinfa has just been the coolest father ever. Like, he's a kind of man where you can wake up in the morning and you don't need to prostrate to him and say, Eka Rosa. You know, the Gen Z father. Despite the fact that he's 70 years, he's still the new school father. He's the father you just say, hi dad. You know, the Western father, not the cultural father. It's just so down to earth. It's not just a father to us, it's like more of a friend, more of a pal. We share ideas with him, we talk to him. He knows everything. A lot. We talk about our life, ladies. He gives us experience. He tells us a lot of things, you know. So he's just like a good friend to us, our best friend, you know, where we share problems with him as he is, and he will give you solutions, and he will guide us, he will advise us, and also so many things about him we've learned. And a simple, humble man, and a very calm man. And like my mom said, he has never beaten us before. You know, he has the way he will tell us when you're wrong. He has the way he will look at you and talk to you, and you will know you're doing the wrong thing. So he's just that man. Like, he's very disciplined, and and a very loving father. Yeah, you really check it. He's a very, very loving father. Like, the best father ever. I won't replace him for any other father. Like, I'm so proud. I'm so blessed and proud to have him as a father.
You want to say it's a jackpot? Okay.
Whatever, he is. Yes.
If I come back to you, sir, I want to go to my very wonderful brother from the United States. You shocked your dad today. You made the man to almost fall down from the seat when he was shocked that you came all the way from US,
United Kingdom,
from London,
UK, yeah.
From the United Kingdom, and you didn't even tell him. He was holding your child. He was taking the child of your twin brother. How did you create that skit? Let's call it a skit. How did you create that? Who brought the idea that you just shock him with a visit? You know, he wasn't thinking because the aviation industry is coupled with high rate of transportation. The jet A1 jet is costly. Even traveling alone is so costly. So who gave you this idea? How did you thought it out that I was shocking with my presence and your family, not just you alone?
Yeah, I think the chief mastermind is my elder brother here, who planned everything, and my twin brother as well, who are on ground, right? So as you know, my Awoyinfa is style of, he's very humble, very quiet. He doesn't want to make noise. He doesn't want to celebrate anything. And we kept on asking him, what do you want to do for your birthday? He's like, no, I just want a quiet time to just reflect. And we've always been thinking of how can we make this period special for him. So one of the things that would make him happy is seeing his entire family, his grandchildren surrounding him, and that's what we tried to reenact today. So my elder brother, my twin brother, we planned it, and I'm thankful to God that thanks to you guys, thanks to everybody here, we're able to make the plan come into fruition.
Your father, this guy like a coup. Him is emotion. He wanted a coup and he executed a coup.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Let's go back to Mr. Jide. How has your dad's career influenced you? I mean,
big time. You know, I remember when we were still like I think our teenage days. He imbibed that culture of you writing a diary. You know, he was like, okay, every day write a diary of what has happened to you today, every day. So we start writing diaries, and then from there we started writing and started improving our ways of writing and our English. So I think that was a part that shaped our life majorly. It was. And him writing, you see my dad lock himself in the room, like no disturbance, and he's always on his laptop, typing, transcribing, writing creative stories, articles, columns, and you'll be inspired. There's no way you won't be inspired, except maybe you're from somewhere else, you know. So he's a real man to look up to. Yeah, he's a real man to look up to. And we thank God.
Growing under him, there is this perception that children of journalists always suffer what I call, in quote, negligence of absentee father. Did you suffer that?
Can I remember?
I mean, I'm not saying that he's not taking care of your wherewithal, but I mean, your father is always arrested by journeys, by traveling, by encounters, here and there. How did you manage those moments, especially with your mom?
Yeah, at some point, I think it to an extent, yeah, it affected us too. As you know, it was just our mom at that point, and she was the one taking care of us, and our dad was away reporting on the field, risking his life to bring out that juicy story. Yeah, it did. It really affected a lot. But we knew at that moment, we knew what he was doing. We knew why. We knew the hustle at that moment. So we kept on praying for him. And yeah, and times when he comes back, he tries his best to make up for days he had lost, moments he had lost with us by taking us out, giving us everything we want, and giving us gifts. I remember days where we go to the beach, rinsing palms, and fun times with him. Remember days he would just take us out randomly just to make up for days he lost with us. Yeah, so it's been a big influence in our life, and we thank God for him.
Let me go back to Taiwo. Fatherhood with Awoyinfa. How would you describe it in your own concept? Fatherhood with Awoyinfa.
Yeah, it's strange that you asked that question because I wrote an article which is going to come out on Saturday about lessons about fatherhood from Awoyinfa. As my brother said, the style of parenting is very unorthodox, right? It's not the typical dad who is always trying to find out. It's not the type that will say, go and bring your assignment. No, his style of parenting is learn by your own mistakes, right? So it gives you a free will to do what you deem is right for you, right? And then that's the way Yoruba say it, right? It gives you an experiential way of learning about life, right? And so that's why I say it's not the typical father you would see there, but his way of parenting, it packs a punch. It's what shaped us to be who we are today, right? So, for example, back to the question you were asking my brother, right? He made sure that he inspired us in creative writing, in music, and in different types of art forms. In fact, when I was in junior secondary school, I was so good at writing that I also wanted to be like my dad, right? I wanted to be a writer, I wanted to be a novelist, I wanted to be a columnist of some sort. But when I looked at the landscape, then they didn't used to take people in art class very serious, right? And me and Kehinde, we passed our GSC exam. I think we had 9 A's or something, and it would be weird for us to then not go into sciences, right? So that's how I ended up in tech, in IT. But my first love is actually writing, and because I wanted to be like him, because he taught us to be like that. So once in a while I try to write as well. But his influence in our life has shaped our way of thinking, our view of life, and we're just so lucky to have a father like Awoyinfa.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to ask you, sir, that which among his works inspires you? He has written more than 1,000 articles. He has written several books with his late twin brother on Jide. He has done a lot of intellectual expertise. Which of his work will you say inspires you? And when you look at his library, how do you feel?
A lot of his works, a lot. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a laughing matter.
That controversial story of the 80s.
Yeah. Then I think the article that made me cry was when his late friend Igwe died. I think what was the title? Pray for me.
Yeah,
it was Pray for me. Yeah. I cried when I read that story. I did. It was touching. Yes. Yeah, he really poured his heart out in that column, and he wrote a lot, and I cried. Yeah, so a lot of his writings like that has been so inspiring, and when you read, you go back again to read. He has a younger brother. He crams his write-ups. To know how he got inspired with dad's write-up. His younger brother crams his write-up. Like they pray for me for Dingba Igwe. His younger brother he crammed everything. Like he can recite it
like a poem.
Like a poem, to let you know how articulate my dad is, to let you know how poetic he can be, and so he's a creative writer, and he's a genius. He's a genius.
I want to ask you that if your dad was not a journalist, what do you think he would have done better?
I think my dad is a wannabe musician.
Yeah, that's no voice.
He doesn't have a good voice, but I think back in the day, he really wanted to be a musician, a DJ of some sort. And his taste for music is very wide. Like, he has a very strong palate for different variety of music. Like, across Africa, we used to listen to Osun, Alifa Katore, Salif Keita. We would go to Beatles.
Maybe Kofi Abrefa.
He taught me how to play the guitar and the piano, but he wasn't very good at it. So I took what he taught me, and then I expanded on it to learn more. But I think if he wasn't a journalist, he would have been in some form of creative art, whether music writing or producing or something which he will still use his pen or his creativity to inspire people.
Inspire humanity.
Yeah.
I want to ask you before we round up them, how huge is that name Awoyinfa on your shoulder? How do you carry it? That name, when you say Awoyinfa and you enter anywhere, how do you handle that name?
It's a privilege. You know, I work with the news agency of Nigeria, and they all know my Awoyinfa. And you'd be in...
That's where your father started, actually.
Exactly.
You'd
be in the newsroom, and an old officer will come and meet and be like, son of a veteran journalist. You know, his shoes are too big for me to fit in. And like, I can't lie, his shoes are too big for me. But wherever you mention that name, Awoyinfa, it's been like, it has been opening doors and opportunities for us, and we're grateful. We thank God for that, and yes, we do.
I want to ask you, sir, you're a twin, and you and your brother, you look so too identical. I mean, very handsome, very very endearing.
Thank you.
I mean, somehow I'm able anyway. How do you handle the temptation from women being an Awoyinfa?
I think, thankfully, I'm stuck away in the United Kingdom, right, where I'm locked up in a little village called Milton Keynes. I'm satisfied with my wife and with my kids. And I spend a lot of time with family, right? But I think the problem, the temptation would be worse if you were in Nigeria, where everybody knows you, and Nigerian men are really trying, right? But I'm just fortunate that I'm in a country where a lot of people don't know me, and I'm just focused on my family and my work. But I could empathize with people that live here and the struggles of trying to.
Let's take you to your mom and your dad. We start with you first. Between the two of them, let me say your dad has a bit of literary influence on all of you. Good readers, good thinkers, good writers. But who had more influence in terms of social, in terms of home development, in terms of family life?
Oh, definitely my mom. My dad is a very quiet and reserved type. So growing up, we observed a lot with our parents. You see my dad, just giving actions. No, not like giving actions, like we just dropping the money. But my mom is the one executing the actions, and making sure everything, like the house they built. My mom built the house. Like she orchestrated everything, the architectural plan, the foundation, and built everything. My dad was just impressive, good, to let you know. So my mom is the action woman. She's the traveler. Yeah, so she's the Margaret Thatcher of the house. Then our mom beats us, and our dad will just be like, no. So they are from two different worlds, but they came together to mold us, and we learned a lot from them, and we could see in it how they
did it.
Yeah, you can see in it how they merged together.
Are you going to give us your own version, dad and mom, who had more influence in terms of family life?
I think we are a product of the both of them. So if you look at each and every one of us as the sons, when we're at home, we are sometimes we're a version of Mike, sometimes we're a version of our mom, right? So when it comes to providing for our family, to being with our children, inspiring them, and there's a reflection of our mom, of our dad in there. But when it comes to being only trying to get things done in the house, we try and use the characteristics we've gotten from our mom. So I'll say we're a combination or a reflection of both of them, which is, in my mind, which is a strength for us.
Then let me ask you this question now. Being fathers now, what has being an Awoyinfa done to make you a good father? Because you have moved from youth to the age of fatherhood. So how has that life contributed in you being the leader of your own house?
Yeah, with that, you know, I have my daughter is 6 months already, and with what I've learned from my dad too, you know, I'm gradually trying to imbibe it to my daughter, and I'm loving her every day the way my dad has always been loving me and is still loving me. So I try keep loving my daughter every day, you know, try teach my daughter. She's learning now gradually things. She's very, very sensitive. Yeah, so I'm grateful I have a girl, because I was praying for a girl. So I've been pouring all the love so much to my baby girl and my beautiful girl. So the most important is the love aspect, and I've been showing the love
and affection.
Yeah, the love and affection. Yeah, and I've been showing the love to her the way I saw my dad show the love to me. Yeah.
In your own case,
Yeah.
how has fatherhood with Awoyinfa influenced your own fatherhood?
So for us, it's most of our wives, strangely, are like our mom. We got attracted to women who
Has the virtues of
has the virtues of our mom, strangely,
and the strength of your mom.
and the strength of our mom. So it's easy for us to take lessons from our dad, like humility, being patient with our wives, being compassionate. We take all of that and we give it to our wives, right? And in terms of our children, we are also very patient with them. We are very hands-on, and we try to be a critical part of their lives. We're not just going to be dads that are not around. We're going to be hands-on with our children. So that's it from our side.
I noticed before we round up now that it's a house of boys.
Yeah.
And I know your mom will have gone through a lot of roughneck, and everything to straighten you up. But let me ask you, did you miss not having a sister among you?
I miss not having a sister. Wow. I think boys, and at some point I think I did. Because when I got to secondary school, you know, I've been living with boys, we guys, and everything. I think it was a bit difficult for me to toast a girl then in secondary school, because I had that. I grew up with boys, you know. So yeah, that aspect. Then I started outgrowing it. I started mixing with people.
Were you not confident, or it's just a kind of an inferiority complex that you come out of you?
I think I had to build my confidence at first. Yeah, I had to do it, and gradually I started building it, and that was it. I think we missed the woman factor in our life, but our mom too, because our mom was like the man in the house too. She was like the man in the house, so we were all like living in a barrack of boys with mom flogging us, mom doing all the physical activities.
I remember one day I came to your house and your mom said, you did something like, there's a way you relate to
That's
that,
how we
I should just know that there's a language you used to talk to her, you say, our boys been here.
Yeah, we communicate by whistling. Communicate by whistling.
Our boys.
Yeah, so we thank God, like this, our generation now, God now give us girls just to compensate for our people. Yeah, the missing girl factor.
So, in your own case, how did you feel not having a girl?
No.
A sister, sorry.
So I think it was a blessing for us, because we're all boys. We would play rough together, or play football together, and the bond between us was very strong because we're boys, right? I think for us as well, we didn't have a girl that would be the one that would, you know, in traditional families, the girl would be the one to cook, to wash. Because we're all boys, we're doing everything. We're cooking, we were washing plates, we're fetching water. So we're being treated as boys, but we're doing the things that girls would also do. And I think it has filtered into our family lives now. So when in my home, in my brother's homes, we cook, we clean after our children, right? Because we've learned those virtues because we're all boys. It would have been nice if we had a girl, but I think our bond was stronger, and we learned everything a boy should do, everything a girl should do, and we're trying to apply that in our everyday lives. And that's why I say it's a blessing.
At 70, how do you want the world to celebrate Mike Awoyinfa, the legend and the king of tabloid journalism?
The world to celebrate him is he has achieved a lot. He's a great man. You know, we just want the world to keep praying for him for long life. He has gone through a lot health-wise, and we thank God he's been a strong man, and God should give him good health. Amen. To see more of his grandchildren. Amen. You know, we wish him from 70 to 80, 90, Amen. 100, Amen. as he wishes to himself too. Amen. So yeah, we're going to celebrate him on his birthday. We have a surprise for him, and we look forward to that day. You know, we look forward to people coming. He's not aware of what's going to happen. The plan is we are surprising him. Like, we are bringing his friends, his old colleagues from work, a lot of people to surprise him on that day, and we look forward to that day. I just hope he won't collapse when he sees everybody on that day, and we just want to celebrate him. We want the landmark, the 70. We thank God for his life. Yeah, we just want to celebrate.
And from your own side, sir,
yeah,
what do you wish for Mike Awoyinfa, your dad, at 70, the legend, the epitome of tabloid journalism, and the man who has raised a lot of men in the literary sector?
Yeah, so back to the question you asked my brother, I just wanted to answer that. I think my dad deserves more accolade, right? I think because of his gentle and humble nature, right, sometimes he doesn't get as much respect as he deserves. But when you look at the catalogue of work he has done, the people he has made and influenced, right? The people he has mentored, you would start to appreciate the level of greatness he has. But because he's quiet, he's humble, he's reserved, you won't really give him the honor that he deserves. And I pray that in this, as we plan to celebrate him this 70th, the world can see him for the legend that he truly is, and God will give him long life and prosperity. Amen. He will do 80, 90. Amen. He would enjoy the rest of his life, and people will celebrate him whilst he's alive. Then that's when, whilst he's alive, people will see him.
Celebrate
for the
me.
star.
Now we are there alive. Yeah, should be celebrated. Now that he's alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're just grateful for every one of you. We're grateful for everybody that has rallied around to celebrate him this 70.
We appreciate.
And we're so eternally grateful to all of you. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you so much, and I wish you long life. I wish you greatness than your father.
Amen.
I wish you success than your father and your mother.
Amen.
And I know in all your endeavor, God will always cap it with excellence.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
In
you.
all your endeavor around the world,
Thank you.
You'll be great.
Amen.
You'll meet leaders,
Amen.
and you'll be successful, and your children will be greater than you.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Mojisola Awoyinfa, and I am wife to Taiwo Awoyinfa, one of the sons of the great Mike Awoyinfa. He is a father to me and also a grandfather to my daughter here, Tioluwanimi Awoyinfa. Daddy and Grandpa is a very humble, very intellectual, ambitious, and very kind and caring father. I really do respect him a lot. I respect his demeanor, and I respect his humbleness, and an icon in the journalism in the industry. And I really want to say a very, very happy birthday to Grandpa Awoyinfa. We love you. God bless you. Many, many more years to come.
Hello, my name is Wura Awoyinfa. I'm the wife of Baba Jide Gabriel Awoyinfa, the first son of the great Mike Awoyinfa, who is celebrating his 70th birthday. Daddy Awoyinfa is an amazing father. He's not just my father-in-law, he's my father because he's accepted me since I got into this family like a daughter. And I'm so happy and grateful to God for this great milestone of 70 that we are celebrating with him. And I pray that he will have good health in mind and body, and that he will enjoy more of God's blessing here on earth. I wish him a very happy birthday and many more years to come.
Oh.